Hi, very good morning. I'm Dr. Janak Patel. Today we'll be talking in another one portion of X-ray chest reading, that is trachea. Sorry, uh, mediastinum. Sorry, we'll be talking today on mediastinum. You should know what is normal so that you can recognize what is abnormal. I'll try to make it as simple as possible so that you can understand. If you understand, you remember very well. If you remember, you will try to recognize. And if you recognize, you can recognize what is normal, what is abnormal. So I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Yes, I am not a radiologist, but still, I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So we'll be talking on a mediastinum and nearby structure. Now what exactly is a mediastinum? Mediastinum consists of all the structures which are there in the center part of the chest. Anteriorly there is sternum, posteriorly there is vertebra. In between that there are a lot of structures, say like trachea, bifurcation of trachea into two bronchus, right main bronchus, left main bronchus, esophagus, all blood vessels, aorta, that is ascending, arch, descending aorta, you have got heart, and superiorly you have got other structures. All these particular structures will produce a dense shadow, and that will be consisting of a cardiac shadow, we call cardiac silhouette. Because of sternum and spine, in a AP or a PA view, it will be extremely difficult to separate them out. And in the upper part, you will have a portion which we usually mention superior mediastinum. Now, if it is exactly the PA view, then and centering is proper, means there is no rotation, then 2/3 of the cardiac shadow will be on the left side and 1/3 of the cardiac shadow will be on the right side. And then it becomes very easy to identify the cardiac size and to find out whether there is cardiomegaly or not. Now this particular requires a PA view, and centering should be proper, or what we call rotation should not be there. At the same time, it should be taken in a full inspiration, erect posture. So this should be there. If it is not taken in an erect posture, if it is taken in a supine posture, or if it is a AP view, or if it is during expiration, and if there is a rotation, X-ray, while taking a X-ray, the person is slightly rotating, or we call oblique, it will give you a false interpretation regarding the size of the heart. Also, if you have taken a picture, enlarged picture with short FFD, then also it will give you a false interpretation of a cardiomegaly or abnormal size of the heart. Even when the diaphragm is elevated because of an abdominal condition like ascites, pregnancy, pneumoperitoneum, or because of obesity, again heart will be horizontal, it will give you the interpretation as cardiomegaly. This fallacy should be avoided when you are reading an X-ray chest. We are interested in a mediastinal part. I will not be talking about the heart part because we will be having a separate entire one video lecture on how you identify the heart silhouette and what are the different ways in identifying different chambers, etc. So that part we are not going to discuss. So I will be discussing in general as mediastinum. There are a lot of areas which are little hidden. Say as for example, apex will be hidden here. Apex is here, but it will be obscured by ribs as well as by clavicle. Hilar vessels will be obscured anteriorly and posteriorly. by some structures. Same way the cardiac shadow can be hidden by lung pathophysiology, diaphragm can be hidden by some portion of the lung is behind the diaphragm, posterior portion behind the diaphragm, and also it hides liver, stomach and spleen. So these are some of the structures which can be very difficult to identify in an X-ray chest, either a PA view or a AP view. But while looking at the mediastinum, we look at the overall size and shape, and for mediastinum ideally you should have a PA view, not AP view. Look at the trachea, bifurcation we call carina angle, position whether it is shifted or whether it is in the center, margins, all this margins of the mediastinum. This is we call as a right margin, this we call as a left margin. And in a lateral view, retrosternal space, post cardiac space, look at the mediastinum hilar contour, density, if there is any abnormality in this hilum, all these things should be looked at. Regarding cardiac silhouette, regarding hilum, we'll be discussing in a separate lecture. So today I'll be talking of some of the other parts in mediastinum. Now as far as we have already told you the heart size, how to measure, etc. we'll be discussing when we are discussing regarding a cardiac silhouette. Now already we have mentioned that if you take a short FFD picture or on expiration or in a supine posture or a AP view or when the diaphragms are elevated, heart size will appear enlarged because this thing should be looked at. So this condition will produce a false interpretation of the heart size. So this should be avoided. Now if you look at the cardiac silhouette, we already know the cardiac silhouette. This particular we will be discussing in detail in a chapter of heart. So this border is by right atrium. This is the portion which is inferior vena cava. Then this is a pulmonary artery. Then you have got an ascending aorta here. This is superior vena cava. Then innominate on, and this will be paratracheal strip, which will be containing the branches of aorta, etc. On left side, this is paratracheal strip on left side. Then it contains what we call as descending aorta portion. You've got an aortopulmonary window. This is an aortic knuckle. We call aortic knuckle. Aortopulmonary window. Then you've got a left pulmonary artery, or we call as a left hilum. This is right hilum. Then you've got a left atrium and left border of the heart. This is left hemidiaphragm. This is right hemidiaphragm. This is right costophrenic angle, left costophrenic angle. Now if you look at this lower portion of the heart, this is right atrium, this is left atrium, left ventricle. And if you look at the little upper part, right hilum, left hilum, ascending aorta, aortic knuckle, we call aortic knuckle, and then you got what we call as the aortopulmonary window. So these are the structures which are related to the cardiac silhouette. We'll be just having a look at that. That can change what we call as mediastinal shadow. And these are in detail what I have already mentioned. The borders on the right side, borders on the left side of mediastinum. So this is what you can see here. This is ascending aorta. This is arch, or we call aortic knuckle or aortic knob. And then you have got a descending aorta portion. Now this is very difficult to differentiate in a PA view because of overlapping of different structures. But some pathophysiology of this particular part can produce overlying shadows. So these are the different portions. This is the heart size. This is the arch of aorta, ascending aorta portion, and this is aortic knob. And then you get the descending aorta portion. This is the paratracheal areas. So this is what you see in a mediastinum. So again, this is the right hilum. Right hilum is also little lower as compared to the left hilum. So you look at the hilum also. Now what you look in a mediastinum? Mediastinum, you look at the position of trachea and whether it is normal or whether there is a shift. This will have already discussed in a separate lecture, what we call is a trachea. That shift may be because of push or a pull. And along with that, if there is a marked pressure on one side, usually because of increased intrathoracic pressure, that will push to the opposite side. And if there is a decrease in the size of the lung because of collapse or fibrosis, shrinkage of the lung volume, will pull the mediastinum and trachea to the same side. So these are the different conditions which will be shifting the position of trachea. And with the shift of the trachea, the mediastinum will also shift. And if the mediastinum shifts, the size of the heart cannot be demarcated clearly. And it will give you a false interpretation of a cardiomegaly or false interpretation of decreased size of the heart depending upon the different conditions. To see exactly the different overlying shadows we call as Silhouette signs, if it is seen, then you will have to have a lateral view. In a lateral view, you can differentiate anterior mediastinum, middle mediastinum and posterior mediastinum. Depending upon which side the shadow is, opaque shadow. If it is on the right side, we will ask for a right lateral view. If it is on the left side, we will ask for a left lateral view. And you can demarcate whether it is in the anterior mediastinum, middle mediastinum or posterior mediastinum, or it is in the superior mediastinum. So any widening of the mediastinal shadow area, that will suggest different conditions like ectopic thyroid, or we call retrosternal thyroid, or it can be a thyroid goiter which has extended from neck region into chest, or it is a thymic tumors, hiatus hernia, lymph nodes, or it is related to aorta like aortic aneurysms, esophageal pathophysiology, or there is a secondary metastasis, etc. Or sometime in a mediastinal opacity, if you see a black lines, we call as a mediastinal emphysema, or it is also called as pneumomediastinum, which can be because of perforation of esophagus. So it can be because of esophageal perforation, or it can be secondary due to pneumoperitoneum. So once in a while you do come across in a pneumoperitoneum, pneumomediastinum, but most common cause of pneumomediastinum is secondary to esophageal perforation. And look at the cardiac silhouette, we'll already discussing that, and look at the hilum. This also will be discussing separately, but some part of this will be showing you in subsequent lectures. Now in mediastinum, we look at the abdominal density. You look in the mediastinum if there is any air fluid level. So if there is any air fluid level, first suspect what we call as a hiatus hernia. So look properly, you may be able to pick up this particular condition. And once in a while, it can be because of overlapping lung abscess which are present in a lung portion which is close to the mediastinum. Look at mediastinal emphysema, what we call is a presence of air in a mediastinum, or we call pneumomediastinum. Or is there any calcification? So these are the common things which you should look for. Increase in mediastinal shadow, abnormal densities, fluid level, or we call as a air fluid level, mediastinal emphysema, calcification. And to have a better look and to identify which part or which structure is producing that abnormality, you should have a lateral view which will divide mediastinum into anterior, middle and posterior, and above the what we call as an imaginary line at the level of the sternal angle, above that will be superior mediastinum. So try to identify. Also look at the diaphragm, because some of the time the diaphragm shape can be abnormal because of some of the odd conditions we call scalloping, muscle slips, diaphragm humps, eventration. Very rarely you come across this eventration also, all because of accessory diaphragm. odd condition, but try to look at that. I already mentioned that if the diaphragm is pushed up, it can be because of abdominal condition like pregnancy, obesity, or massive ascites, or sometime in a case of pneumo uh, sorry pneumoperitoneum. So in that condition, the diaphragm is pushed up, which will produce the heart to be horizontal, will give you false interpretation of cardiomegaly. But also the diaphragm can be shifted, or diaphragm can be pulled up or pushed down because of a lung pathophysiology. Pulled up in case of collapse, fibrosis, thickened pleura, it will be pulled up, while it will be pushed down in case of pneumothorax or in case of emphysema. Bilateral diaphragm is pushed down in case of emphysema, and unilateral it can be because of pneumothorax, and particularly in case of a tension pneumothorax. So try to look for those particular things. Diaphragm part we have discussed already separately in a separate lecture. So sometimes you get some shadows which can also interfere with your interpretation in an X-ray chest. Say like here. Now you can see there is some shadow here. Here also you can see some shadows. Now these are because of the lobes. We call Chilaiditi sign. This is Chilaiditi sign. And here there is a black shadow below the diaphragm, and this is because of pneumoperitoneum. So you should be able to differentiate this. Now this is what is a right border, this is a left border of mediastinum, and this consists of a cardiac cilioti. This is trachea, so this is a paratracheal strip on the right side, this is a paratracheal area on the left side. And if you take a lateral view, this border is an anterior border, this is a posterior border. In front of anterior border, this is anterior mediastinum. Between these two border, this is a middle mediastinum. Behind this, posterior, and above this imaginary line at the sternal angle, this will be what we call as superior mediastinum. So you have to identify these different structures. Now roughly if you see, this is anterior mediastinum. Anterior mediastinum consists of an anterior part to the heart and great vessels. Superior mediastinum is above this imaginary line. Above this imaginary line, this is sternum, this is manubrium sterni, this is a sternal angle. So from that sternal angle, you draw a line to the fourth vertebra. This is the imaginary line, and above that is superior mediastinum. And in a posterior part, it consists of a descending aorta, a gyrus vein, esophagus, thoracic duct, lymph nodes, etc. And this middle part consists of the heart and great vessels and some lymph nodes. So try to identify this structure in a lateral view. Now, what are the common material which can produce increased opacity or density or increase overlying shadows? Usually we use the word 4 T's. Thyroid gland, usually we call ectopic thyroid gland. Sometimes even a thyroid gland goiter which is there in the neck can extend into the mediastinum, and that is superior mediastinum. Thymus, teratomas, and terrible lymphomas, particularly we call as a tumors or mediastinal tumors, and this can be primary, like what we call as a lymphoid tissue disorders, Hodgkin's, or in case of secondary metastasis. Invariably in an anterior and superior mediastinum, you come across thyroid gland, thymus, teratomas, lymphomas, all these 4, plus aortic aneurysms, because arch of aorta, this will be ascending part, arch, and then this will be descending aorta. So ascending aorta pathophysiology here and arch of aorta pathophysiology in superior mediastinum will produce additional density. So try to identify that. Usually we call 4T, and plus you can use what we call as a aorta. So particularly in a superior mediastinum. Now in a middle mediastinum, mainly pericardial pathophysiology, esophagus may produce some pathophysiology here, and particularly hiatus hernia. Particularly hiatus hernia. So do look at that particular part. Okay? And lymphadenopathy. While in a posterior, mainly it is in a retrocardiac area, and that is a descending part of the aorta. Neurogenic tumors, nerve fibers producing tumors, or because of the spine. So mainly in a posterior aorta, it is related to the spine or to the nerve fibers. Neurogenic tumors are related to the spine, either tumors or secondary metastases or a pot spine, etc. that can produce. So just remember this particular, this is a very useful slide. So in a lateral view, you will suspect what pathophysiology. So this is in further detail. What will be commonly seen in an anterior mediastinum, what will be seen in a middle mediastinum, what will be seen in a posterior mediastinum. At your leisure time, you can go through. I've given you a rough idea. Now, this is what we call, if a little penetrated view is there, you will see that this is a vertebral body, there's a little osteophyte 6, and this is an intervertebral disc space, and this is a paravertebral line on the right side. So you can see sometimes the vertebra through the cardiac shadow if a proper exposure is there. So you can sometimes identify some of the pathophysiology in a AP view in a person, because you can see some part of the vertebra through the cardiac cell artery. So if you can identify, well and good. Sometimes you can make out even a scoliosis, but you cannot identify kyphosis in a AP view. So try to look at the mediastinal width at different points. So if there is a widening of this mediastinum, there is some abnormality, or if there is an overlapping shadow, there is some abnormality. Try to identify that. Now you can see here, you can see this carina angle. In a mediastinal shadow, you can identify the tracheal shadow, right bronchus, left bronchus, and if you look at this angle will be widened, will become more obtuse because of left atrium or because of pericardium. So in a case of a massive pericardial effusion and in a case of a huge left atrial enlargement, this carina angle will be wider. In a hilum, you can get an enlargement of lymph nodes in this particular hilar region, right hilum or a left hilum. That can be because of malignancy, can be because of infection, or because of miscellaneous conditions. Particularly in malignancy, primary lung malignancy or lymphomas. These two will be most common. And third possibility is metastasis, which can be from any particular structure, and the most common structure is breast, bronchogenic carcinoma itself, or malignancy from thyroid gland, or melanoma, or even CA prostate, etc. There are many structures. While as far as infection is concerned, in India, first possibility is tuberculosis, and rare possibility, virus, histoplasmosis, coccidomycosis, tularemia, etc. These are not common. These are absolutely rare. So first, always rule out tuberculosis. And among malignancy, primary lung malignancy, lymphomas, or metastatic disorders. And some of the other conditions which can be seen very frequently is sarcoidosis and silicosis. These two are very, very common. Yes, hilum can be enlarged without lymph nodes because of pulmonary hypertension or pulmonary artery aneurysm, and absolutely rare, bronchogenic cyst. So these are some of the conditions where the hilum can be enlarged. This portion will be shown in separate lecture, what we call as a lung with hilum examinations. We don't go into that much detail. Now this is one X-ray which can be showing you. Now if you look at this particular previous, now you can look at this left hilum here. You can look at this left hilum and this right hilum. And now just compare this hilum. This is the left hilum and this is the right hilum. And now compare this. If you look here, this is enlarged. This particular portion is filled up with the opacity. Now this has to be either because of the pulmonary artery or because of what we call as a pulmonary hypertension. So this enlargement is because of a pulmonary hypertension. So you can see the enlargement of the portion of pulmonary artery, and this is because of the pulmonary hypertension. And even you can see that this portion of a right pulmonary artery is also enlarged, and this is classical in case of a pulmonary hypertension. Now if you see here, this portion of a hilum is little bit enlarged. Now this can be because of pulmonary artery or can be because of other material like lymph nodes or tumor. So this is because of the lung cancer with a hilar node metastasis. Here this is probably a primary tumor. You can see a small shadow here, and that is producing a secondary metastasis here. So this is a lung malignancy, primary malignancy here, primary tumor here, producing secondary metastasis in a hilum. This you can identify only after histopathology, that is biopsy. On an X-ray you can say there is a shadow, probably this is a lymph node, maybe a secondary metastasis from this primary tumor. Same way, you can see this particular hilar shadow. You can see this hilar shadow, little bit enlarged. Now this is called hilum convergence signs, which is if the branches of the pulmonary artery converges towards the central mass, this central part, central mass, it is an enlarged pulmonary artery, this particular portion. We call that as a hilum convergence signs. If the branches of the pulmonary artery converges towards the heart rather than the mass, here towards the heart, then it is a mediastinal tumor. It is a mediastinal tumor, and this is what happens in a mediastinal tumor. This happens because of the enlarged pulmonary artery. Enlarged pulmonary artery. So this particular you should try to identify what we call as a hilum convergence signs. There is another sign which is called as a hilum overlay sign. So at the hilum, if you see an overlapping shadow, you should try to identify it belongs to what, and that you will be able to identify in a lateral view. Now if you can see here, there is some opaque shadow here, and you can see the blood vessels, left hilum through that. So there is some overlapping shadow. Now this shadow is on the left side, and this is ascending aorta part, this is the aortic knob, and this is a descending aorta part. So this shadow is related to the aorta, and if you look in a lateral view, you can see there is a small round shadow like this. This is a saccular aneurysm related to the arch of aorta. So this you can identify in a lateral view. In PA view, you can suspect a shadow related to some structure in a mediastinum close to aorta. So we suspect related to aorta. So that is saccular aortic aneurysm, and that produces what we call as an overlapping sign. So it is called hilum overlay sign. Hilum overlay sign. That is structure close to the hilum. It may be aorta, it may be lymph nodes, or it may be related to pulmonary artery. Now, in case of a mediastinal mass, there are two words commonly utilized. One we call as a nodule, and another we call as a mass. Mass means more than 2 to 3 centimeter in size. So if it is more than 2 to 3 centimeter in size, producing a dense opacity, what we call as a opacity or opaque shadow. If it is from mediastinum, it is from here, then it will produce, this will be the lung margin. So it will produce this type of an angle. So if it is a mediastinal mass, it will produce an obtuse angle with what we call as a lung. So that will help you to identify the mediastinal mass. And if it is arising from lung, it will produce pressure from lung side. So it may contain an air bronchogram. This particular mass may contain, because it is belonging to the lung, so may contain an air bronchogram, while the mass which is arising from the mediastinum does not have an air bronchogram. So this is one way of differentiating. And second, if there is a mass from mediastinum, will produce, this is a lung margin, So in a lung margin, it will produce an obtuse angle. Lung will be obtuse, while here it will be acute angle. It will be acute angle. So try to look at that particular thing. So you can identify that by looking properly in an X-ray chest PA view. So now you can see this is the paratracheal shadow. This is trachea. This is on the right side. So this is on the right side. So there are a lot of structures on the right side. Paratracheal lymphadenopathy, thyroid, parathyroid gland, tracheal carcinoma, or pleural effusion, or shadow because of pleural effusion or thickening, etc. Also, it can be because of thyroid gland, it can be because of thymus, good number of conditions. This was because of the ectopic parathyroid adenoma. So, this you can identify only after biopsy, not on an X-ray chest picture. Very, very difficult. You can say only paratracheal mass. Can be a lymph node, can be a ectopic thyroid gland, can be an ectopic parathyroid gland, it can be a lymph nodes, or it can be related to arch of aorta aneurysm, can be any one of those structures. So try to identify. Again, you can see this is a trachea little bit shifted to the left side, and there is a shadow, overlapping shadow here. So this is a left paratracheal mass, and this is because of a thyroid carcinoma. So it can be anything. It can be lymph node, it can be thyroid gland, it can be parathyroid, it can be thymus, or it can be a mediastinal structure, other mediastinal structure like related to the heart or related to the esophagus, etc. All those you have to keep it in mind. Now here, if you look at, there is some shadow here. There is a shadow here, and that shadow has destroyed this rib, and there is a even cavitation. Now you can see there is a cavity formation, and here this is a trachea, and in this paratracheal area there is a dense opacity. So this is a malignancy. We call that as the Penco's tumor, or we call as a right apical lobe tumor, that is producing a secondary metastasis here. So this is a paratracheal mass. There is a calcified lymph nodes. There is a calcification here. These calcified lymph nodes are there, and these calcified lymph nodes very commonly you see in a silicosis. So, but this shadow, paratracheal lymph nodes are because of secondary metastasis from this primary. So this is the way we approach. Now this is a rare condition which is there in a lung. You get a coin shadow, or we call as a coin lesion, and which is little calcified, which is because of a histoplasmosis, calcified granuloma as a coin lesion. This is, you can see a calcification here. That is called a coin lesion, very commonly in a histoplasmosis, rare conditions. You can see a big shadow here, and there is a little gap between the paratracheal shadows and this. So this is a primary lung pathophysiology, and this is bronchogenic carcinoma. Again, you can see there is a shift of trachea, and there is some shadow here. So this is the left side paratracheal mass. Now this left side paratracheal mass can be because of thyroid gland, can be thymus, can be arch of aorta aneurysm, can be lymph nodes, can be secondary to esophagus, etc. And this was because of the thyroid gland. There was a big tumor containing a large cancer. So it was a thyroid malignancy. Now again you can see here, there is a big shadow here. Now this could be related to the arch of aorta, or maybe a thyroid gland, or maybe thymus, etc. But this was, if you want to look here, it is somewhere here in this part. So this was because of saccular aortic aneurysm. This is arch of aorta will come here. So this was saccular aortic aneurysm. Now this is a widened mediastinum. You can see it is wide on left side as well as on right side. So maybe Nutan, hello, hello. So that was because of a aneurysm. that was aneurysm. This is saccular aneurysm. Same way you can look here, this is a widened mediastinum. This is because of arch of aorta aneurysm. This is again a ascending aorta aneurysm. Ascending aorta aneurysm, this particular. This is again a widening of mediastinum. Now this particular shadow, if you see this peculiar, this is called Sales sign. Whenever you see in a children, this type of a shadow, this is because of thymus. This is because of thymus. So that is a thymic tumor. This is thymic tumor. So in children, very frequently you can come across a thymic tumor, thymomas. Now again, this is a widening of mediastinum. And this is widening because of lymph nodes. That is because of lymphomas. Again you can see widening of mediastinum. So you can come across a widening of mediastinum in many different conditions. You should have a lateral view to differentiate which part. This is in the superior mediastinum. This is in the superior mediastinum, mainly because of the lymph nodes enlargement, and that we call as a lymphomas. Very common in lymphoma, particularly Hodgkin's lymphoma. So these are the, again, you can see a widening of the mediastinum, and this is because of what we call as a multiple lymph nodes. Now, in a PA view, if you see a horizontal fluid level like this, see this horizontal fluid level. This is because of air fluid level. You can see here also. You can see another here. Clear? So you are able to see multiple air fluid level. Multiple air fluid level. And this is a big cavity. You can see that multiple air fluid level. So this, whenever you get, this is because of the lung. Here also you can see a small fluid level. So this is multiple lung abscesses. But similar, if you see this is, say, not in a mediastinum, this is away from the mediastinum, and this is in a posterior part. You can see in a lateral view, this is in a posterior part. So this is a lung abscess in a posterior lobe. This is a posterior portion of the lung, lower lobe but posterior portion, right lung, posterior portion. You can see a very big lung abscess which appears so big. You can see very clearly, right? No, this thing can happen also in a carcinoma, which is having a big cavity. This is a cavitary bronchogenic carcinoma. So once in a while you can come across such conditions which appears like a lung abscess. You can see here, this is a lung abscess, clear cut. But here, this is a squamous cell carcinoma. Squamous cell carcinoma, which can be like cavitary lesion, but this can be diagnosed only on biopsy. Only on biopsy. So again, this is, you can see a shadow here that will be seen extending in this portion also. This is a bronchogenic carcinoma. This is a bronchogenic carcinoma, and you can see a very big mass, and that is in a anterior mediastinum. This is extending into anterior mediastinum. You can see there is no retrosternal space seen. This is a sternum. You can't make out anything in that retrosternal mass. So this is a lymphomas, T cell lymphoma, a very big T cell lymphoma, and this is only on biopsy. Yes, you can suspect lymphoma. It can be thymic tumor, it can be teratoma, it can be thyroid mass, or it can be aortic aneurysm, it can be pericardial cyst. Anything of that is possible. You can see again a mass here. Is it clear? So this is a benign thymomas. that is a thymic tumor. So there is a big tumor here, and this is thymus. See, there is a tumor here. There is some shadow here. This has to be outside the pleura. This has to be outside the pleura. And you can see a round shadow here. This can be bronchogenic carcinoma or can be a secondary metastasis. You will have to identify by doing a histopathology. Now you can see a big shadow here. Now, this cardiac border you can see through that. So it is somewhere in a mediastinum. If you want to identify where exactly it is, you will have to have a lateral view. Now in a lateral view you can see this cardiac shadow very clearly, and this tumor is in a posterior part, and whenever it is in a posterior part it can be related to the nerve. So it was schwannoma, Schwann cell tumor, schwannoma. So it was related to that, or it may be related to vertebra, but this was related to the nerve, a very big tumor. Is it clear? You try to identify that way. Now this is normal. You can see there is something here. So this particular you can identify in a lateral view better, that it is related to anterior mediastinum or superior mediastinum. So it is anterior and superior mediastinum, maybe related to aorta, or maybe thymus, maybe thyroid gland, or maybe lymph nodes, etc. So it was a mass in the anterior mediastinum. Now if you look here in this cardiac silhouette, you can see a horizontal fluid level. Here you can see this horizontal fluid level. Clear? These are two different separate people. This is not of the same. So you can see whenever you see such things in a mediastinal shadow, that is cardiac silhouette, and close to the diaphragm, always suspect hiatus hernia. It is hiatus hernia. You can clearly see this. Clear? This is away from the heart. So this is because of the hiatus hernia. So try to identify. Again you can see here. Very clear. So this is hiatus hernia. Now if you look here, horizontal fluid level, look here, horizontal fluid level. But it is not extending outside this line. This is close to the mediastinum. Now you can see this in a lateral view. It is behind the heart. So this has to be in a lung. So this is lung abscess. So this is here, lung abscess. You can see another lung abscess here. So this is lung abscess, multiple lung abscesses. Now you can see here, this is a shadow. And if you look in a lateral view, it is here. So this is lung abscess, air fluid level, not in the mediastinum. Now if you see this, there is a big shadow here, closely related to the heart, and this particular can be lymph nodes. So it was because of lymphadenopathy. Now there are no other shadows seen in the lung, so it is not secondary to any bronchogenic tumors. So this can be primary bronchogenic carcinoma with lymphadenopathy, or can be secondary metastasis from other organs. So this was bronchogenic carcinoma with secondary metastasis. So this is normal. Now if you see this hilum is enlarged. Clear? So this hilum is enlarged. There is an increased shadow here. These are all because of lymphadenopathy. Hilar and mediastinal lymphadenopathy. Probably secondary metastasis from outside, or maybe a bronchogenic carcinoma with secondary metastasis. So hilar lymphadenopathy you can identify much better in a lateral view. You can see this lymph nodes enlargement. So that particular will be very better identified by that. Even in a sarcoidosis also you can a lymph node enlargement. So mediastinal mass in the anterior space will obliterate this, what we call as a retrosternal area. It can be because of heart, or can be because of mediastinal structures. So try to rule out that. Now this is, you can see that this is related to the heart. It is in continuity with a heart shadow. This is a pericardial cyst. and this is in a middle mediastinum, and this is in the anterior mediastinum. So this can be due to thymus, thyroid, lymph nodes, arch of aorta, etc. You try to identify. It's a big pericardial effusion, and that can also sometimes produce an extension here, obliteration of the retrosternal space. So this is a massive pericardial effusion, can produce. But here we are not getting encroachment posteriorly. So this was a pericardial cyst. Now this is one typical sign we call as a cervicothoracic sign, which you come across in a person who gets a mediastinal shadow. Now normally if it is in the superior mediastinum, this opacity should not extend above the clavicle. So if you see a shadow, you can see clearly here. There is a opacity here. This is the clavicle. You can see a clear cut area here, radiolucency. But here, this opacity is extending up. So whenever it is extending above the superior mediastinum, then that is given a name, cervicothoracic sign. So from cervical region, there is some material which is producing opacity extending into the thorax. Clear? Because a material from the thorax cannot extend into the cervical region. So usually it is from the cervical region, that is from the neck extending here, and very commonly it is a thyroid gland. So this can be a thyroid goiter which is extending from the neck into what we call is a superior mediastinum. So that is given a name, cervicothoracic sign. So once in a while you can identify this on an X-ray very clearly. So try to identify that. So if it is in the anterior mediastinum, it will stop at the level of clavicle, and if it is extending further up, particularly if it is a posterior mediastinal structure, it will extend up and it will give rise to what we call as a cervicothoracic sign. So a posterior mediastinal structure can extend above the clavicle level, and then we call that as a cervicothoracic sign. So try to identify that particular thing. So this is typical. You can see that this particular mass, this is a clavicle, this is extending up, this particular shadow. So this is arising from the neck region, and it is in the posterior portion, and very commonly it is a thyroid goiter which is extending there and lies in the posterior mediastinum. So if not clear, then cervicothoracic lesion partly in anterior mediastinum and partly in the neck. So that particular can happen in a cervicothoracic sign. You can see here, this is a posterior mediastinal mass extending up above the clavicle level. So this has to be in a posterior mediastinum. You can see this particular. So this is a posterior mediastinal mass, and if you come across sometime like this extending here, so this is called cervicothoracic sign. Maybe because of something lying in the posterior mediastinum, or partly in anterior mediastinum and partly in the neck. So that can be possible. If not very clear, then it can be because of two. So very commonly it is because of a retrosternal goiter, which can produce this cervicothoracic sign. So try to have a look at that particular thing. Now you can see this here. This is extending above the clavicle. Can you see that? It is mainly on the left side, extending above the clavicle, and this is a trachea which is being pushed from the left side towards the right side. And see this paratracheal shadow. Now in a mediastinum, sometimes you can see an overlapping shadow. You can see this overlapping shadow, and this is because of aortic aneurysm. This is because of aortic aneurysm, overlapping shadow, and which you will be able to make out much better in a lateral view. You can see here, this is a big shadow here. This is because of the aortic pathophysiology, and that is double density shadow. You can see one line here and one line here. This is aortic knob, and this is another shadow, and this is because of the what we call the double density in a arch of aorta, and that is because of aortic dissection. Double aortic counter it is called, or double aortic shadow. You can see here, this is one line and this is another line. So this is because of the aortic dissection. and you can see these are the sutures, widening, double shadow or double calcium signs, very common, aortic dissection. Now you can see there is a shadow here. Now if you take a lateral view, you will see that particular in a posterior mediastinum. This is in a posterior compartment, and this can be because of lipoma, or it can be because of descending aorta, etc. Descending aorta, etc. Or can be because of the structure which is in the posterior mediastinum. And when it is extending below the diaphragm, say this is a diaphragm. Now it is extending below the diaphragm. It is called thoracoabdominal sign. So it is in a posterior mediastinum and extending down. So it can be because of structures below the diaphragm and in a posterior mediastinum. And this was a lipoma which was there. Again, this you can identify only after doing a biopsy. So again you can see here there is some shadow which is extending down below the diaphragm. So this may be because of descending aorta, or maybe because of esophagus, or maybe because of some material which is in a posterior mediastinum. You can see that. Clear? This is because of the big hiatus hernia. Here you cannot, here we are not having a horizontal air fluid level. So this is a thoracoabdominal sign you can call due to large hiatus hernia. So there is another condition where we get air in the mediastinum. So normally if you look here, now in this particular area, if I draw the line like this, in this area you get only opacity except trachea. Apart from trachea, if you get a linear lines, can you see the linear lines here? Can you see the air here? Can you see these lines? Can you see this here? This is subcutaneous emphysema. Subcutaneous emphysema. And here, around the pericardium, you are getting a black line. Around the pericardium, you are getting a black line. This is because of a pneumopericardium. And this, whenever you get, you call that as a pneumomediastinum. We'll be showing you further slides also. You can see air here. Can you see this here? Can you see here? Can you see this air line here? Air line here. See these vertical lines along the artery. So this is a sign of pneumomediastinum. Ring around the artery or tubular artery signs. These are all the different signs name given. You can get subcutaneous emphysema. You can get a pneumopericardium. You can get a ring around the artery. You can see this is around the artery. You get a black line. That is called ring around the artery or along the blood vessels. That is tubular artery sign. Tubular artery signs. Or normally you cannot make out the diaphragm line here. You cannot see this. But when you see a diaphragm and cardiac border separated out, it is called continuous diaphragm sign. Continuous diaphragm sign. So when you see a continuous diaphragm sign, it is one of the finding in case of a pneumomediastinum. So it is called continuous diaphragm sign. So that is because of pneumomediastinum. And because of a pneumothorax. Now, this is very typical sign in a neonatal. It is called as Sales sign. It is called a Sales sign. Very, very typical sign. There are many other signs that is called as a V sign. Necklerio V sign. That is a V shape here. You can see air collection close to what we call as other limb is produced because of the air between parietal pleura and left hemidiaphragm, and one limb is because of mediastinal air collection produced by mediastinal air outlined the left lower lateral margin of mediastinum, this particular V-shaped sign. So that is called as a Necklerio V sign. So that is very common in pneumomediastinum. Try to look at that. Now these are all the, you can see a continuous, you can identify the lower border of the heart and you can identify the upper border of the diaphragm very clearly. This is called continuous diaphragm sign. And this is very because of the air which leaks out very commonly from esophagus and produces pneumomediastinum. You can see a air line here also. And you can see a continuous diaphragm sign. Continuous diaphragm sign. So this is typical. You can see, you can separate out the cardiac border, that is pericardium, from diaphragm. You can clearly separate out that. And this is because of a pneumomediastinum. You can see here, this is a border which can separate out the pericardium. So these are the, you can see a black line here also. You can see a arrow showing you a air in the mediastinum, that is pneumomediastinum. You can see here around the pericardium, around the pericardium. This is around the blood vessels. Again you can see in the mediastinum. This is called Sales sign, Ehrlich syndromes, around the pericardium, pneumopericardium. You can see a clear diaphragm, continuous diaphragm sign. You can see clearly the diaphragm and heart border can be easily differentiated. And this is a characteristic of a pneumomediastinum. Pneumomediastinum. Lot of pictures are there. Now this is one picture which will tell you that there is, you can see a air bronchogram. Air bronchogram. And there is a bilateral shadow. Air bronchogram. Bilateral shadows. And whenever you get an air bronchogram, it is because of consolidation. Now you can see here lot of black lines along the muscles, subcutaneous emphysema, and simultaneously you can see here the black lines in a mediastinum. This is pneumomediastinum. Surgical emphysema and pneumomediastinum. Now you can see here, this is a lung margin drawn in a little brighter line. So this is a lung edge and this is separated from the chest wall. And here you don't have a vascular marking. So this is a pneumothorax. And hilum will be crowded. So this is partial pneumothorax. Partial pneumothorax. Can you see this? This is lung margin. Here you can see a vascular marking. But between chest wall and this, there are no vascular marking. So this is a pneumothorax. But if you look here, there is one line seen here. But beyond this line also, you can see a vascular marking. Look at this and look at this. There's a difference. So this is because of a skin fold, which will be there, produced sometimes in a thin individual. So that can be seen very clearly. And that is very frequently mistaken as a pneumothorax. Now you can see here in a mediastinum what has happened. Because of a big pneumothorax, this is a breast shadow. This is because of a big, this is a deep sulcus sign. Diaphragm is pushed down. Entire mediastinum is pushed to the opposite side. Now you cannot identify the heart size properly. And see this massive shift of, this is a tension pneumothorax with a gross tracheal deviation to the opposite side. So this is a tension pneumothorax. You can see again in a tension pneumothorax, deep sulcus sign, entire trachea and mediastinum pushed to the opposite side. This is a trachea pushed to the opposite side. And see the entire mediastinum is pushed to the opposite side. And this is a breast shadow, tension pneumothorax. This is in inspiration. You can see the lung has expanded partially. You can see a bronchovascular marking, and apart from this line, you can't see any vascular markings. So this is a pneumothorax. And during expiration, see this particular, compare this and this. You can see a vascular marking here. And here, there are no vascular markings. So this is during inspiration and during expiration, partial pneumothorax. Again, this is a partial pneumothorax. And this is in a supine patient. In a supine patient, you can see a air shadow here. Air shadow here. This is, you can see here a radiolucency. radiolucency, radiolucency, and you can see a radio opacity, and there is a horizontal level. So this is air, this is fluid, hydropneumothorax, and this you should be able to identify very clearly in an upright posture. This is a diaphragm. Below the diaphragm, this is a black shadow here. So this is because of the gas under the diaphragm. And this is in a lateral decubitus. This is a abdominal wall, and you can see a gas here in a lateral decubitus, left lateral decubitus. So these are all the conditions which you should be able to identify very clearly. You can see a lot of air in the abdomen, free intraperitoneal air. You can see below the diaphragm, very clear. So try to differentiate all those things. Here I end my lecture. I hope this will be helpful to you to identify some of the mediastinal pathophysiology. We see you next time.